of the corporate world, we come across various personalities. Some who know how to address conflict in the right way, a few who behave larger than the problem, and some just plain bossy. Now, don't get us wrong, there's nothing wrong in commanding a situation, but the nature in which you tread anything becomes the focus. I'm sure at some point people have been at the receiving end of their manager's wrath, and of course, it can be quite humiliating. Now, imagine being given a dress down when the whole world is watching you. If you're a sports lover, you know where this is headed. Yes, the entire standoff with IPL owners reprimanding their respective players. But here's something in the world of sports. Winning, losing is a part of the game. But the truth of the matter is, how one deals with it, with the result rather, makes the entire difference. But why has this become a talking point? Well, the KL Rahul-led Lucknow Super Giants were absolutely demolished in a match, 57 of the IPL, by a rampant Sunrisers Hyderabad unit. LSG, in fact, scored 165 after electing to bat first, but Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma made an absolute mockery of the chase and hunted down the target inside 10 overs. This clearly did not go down well with LSG owner Sanjiv Goenka. Mr. Goenka, in fact, was caught giving a heated lecture to KL Rahul after the match as the LSG skipper, of course, tried to explain his case. You're looking at some of those images on your screens right now. There were some animated hand gestures by Goenka, who is clearly upset with how KL Rahul and his boys went about their business in a very crucial match. But while we speak in the context of the Indian Premier League, it is not just the LSG owner who finds himself in the middle of this. Let us rewind back to Tuesday, when Delhi Capitals clashed with Rajasthan Royals. Interestingly, a video of Delhi chairman and co-owner Parth Jindal had gone viral, in which he could be heard saying "out hai," essentially that it is out, and gesturing to Sanju Samson to get off the field. However, post the match, the duo could be seen interacting cordially in the presence of Rajasthan Royals owner Manoj Badali. Now it brings us to the question if IPL owners are behaving like feudal lords, and is the Indian Cricket Board letting go of franchise owners to get away with this poor conduct? All right. Now, clearly, there are a lot of talking points, but I understand I have not just my guest joining me this afternoon, that's Vedam Jaishankar, who is a sports journalist, but also both my colleagues, Karishma and Ashish, who will give us better perspective about this. But let me go across to Karishma first. Karishma, of course, this is unfortunately not the first time we're looking at this, because like we just told our viewers as well, two instances of this coming to light now. But how are we looking at this? Because we're also talking about the fact that is the Indian Cricket Board letting go away of this poor conduct? Also, very interesting point that is coming around as to how star players in Indian cricket are really big, and which is why we don't see something of this earlier as well. Player associations not being strong enough, at least if we compare it to the international circuit of things. So if you could give us a quick takeaway of how you're looking into it.
Well, yes, absolutely. First things first, you are talking about the BCCI. Let's understand this. BCCI is a parent body to the Indian Premier League, but more or less 80 to 90% it is run by the franchisees. The stadiums are under the control of franchisees supervised by the BCCI, and we are going to be talking about the specific incident that happened yesterday, Lucknow Super Giants versus Sunrisers Hyderabad. Now, what Sunrisers Hyderabad did was create history, but what Sanjiv Goenka did has not gone down well with people, with fans of the game, where they're questioning that, you know, one, was this conversation really needed? And two, if it was needed, was this the place to do it in the stadium at the boundary line, where you know there are going to be cameras all around, where you know that all of this can get caught on camera? And it was obviously looking very, very awkward. KL Rahul, in that video, in the pictures that we must be showing on our screens, KL Rahul looked very, very uncomfortable. So that was obviously not the place where Sanjiv Goenka should had that conversation with KL Rahul. Yes, one can understand the frustration that 167 is chased down in just under 10 overs, and Sunrisers Hyderabad have won by 10 wickets. So, of course, players will also be disappointed. Players will also be angry with themselves. The bowlers must be feeling very, very disappointed. So one really needs to figure out if that is the moment to criticize the team, or that is the moment to stand by the team, motivate them and tell them that yes, this is a one-off incident, we can do better. And that has happened in the past. There are instances. You're talking about Parth Jindal, but let's see that incident also, where he was just involved in the match, where he had an opinion about Sanju Samson's dismissal, and he voiced that dismissal. That got caught on camera. Parth Jindal is known to have these visibly high expressions when he's watching matches, whether it's cricket, whether it's football. Now let's talk about other incidents like Shah Rukh Khan. Reportedly, he's had a chat with his team when in a match versus Punjab Kings, the score was 260 and KKR was possibly on the losing side. There was a different way. So one really needs to figure out what is the right way, what is the wrong way. To each his own, of course. But one would say, like all the fans of the game are also saying, that something like this shouldn't be done publicly, because it looked insulting and humiliating. It looked like KL Rahul was trying to have a conversation with Sanjiv Goenka, but Sanjiv Goenka was not ready to listen.
Right, Karishma, I appreciate you getting us how one is, of course, looking at this, and in terms of with the fact that how it's yet another controversy, if we can say so. Vedam, let me come to you. I do see you smiling, but with the fact that how everybody is looking at this, Karishma's, of course, drawn perspective, an overall angle as well, where a fan would be looking at it. But in terms of this, what do you make of it? We've all been probably been reprimanded by our managers. At least I don't want to jinx it for myself. I think I've been very cordial with my managers, if I may say so. But this is quite humiliating, to say the least, because the whole world is watching you when you have this dress down. It can be a better conduct even if you're being reprimanded for a poor performance. We all get into the heat of the moment when sports happens.
So tell me, who looks bad in this? Is it KL Rahul or Goenka? It's as simple as that. See, basically, we all need to understand, he who pays the piper calls the tune. Whether it's an editor of a TV channel or a newspaper, or it's some boss or a player or whoever. That's the thing. But where do you do it? There have been people who have been sacked in staircases. There have been people who have been sacked on the playing field, and it just happened right through. Now, Sanjiv Goenka himself has fallen apart, I think, once with Mahendra Singh Dhoni when he was leading the Pune Super Giants. So it's nothing new. But at the same time, let's not forget that he is an experienced franchisee owner. He owns a Durban team. He owns a Mohun Bagan football team. He owned Pune earlier, and now this Lucknow. So he knows what has to be done. Sometimes, for optics' sake, some of these things, they may be sending some messages, really. These messages actually could be non-verbal messages. We're looking at it as a verbal message, but it could be a non-verbal message. To whom, we don't know. Maybe it's to KL Rahul, maybe it's to somebody else. But these messages are also as key, as important. And let's not forget, being a very successful businessman and industrialist, he certainly knows how to run the show. But again, I come back to that bottom line, that he is paying the bill, and it's not just here. All over the world, we have seen. We've seen football managers being kicked out in public. We've seen some of the top people, David Beckham had a shoe hurled at him in a meeting, so it happens. Where it should have been done, sometimes it's done for optics, like I said. Charu Sharma was sacked to the play field by Vijay Mallya. So it was, maybe certain things are done deliberately. And this has happened time and again. And I think as an owner, yes, he brings in a lot of passion. He's also making money out of it. IPL is a very successful event, and each of the teams must be taking home at least about 400 crores each year now. It might have been a loss-making proposition to start with, but now it's a highly profitable venture. And these are businessmen who know where their money is coming from, how to protect it, and how to take it forward. So I don't think it is. It looks all as spontaneous as it seems on TV.
All right, so these are, of course, animated images we're also looking at. These are from, of course, incidents and videos. You are, of course, having a different perspective of it. And like you said, who does it make, for the person to be looking at that in the spotlight, who's really looking bad here, the owner or the player? But if you're looking at even those expressions, Mr. Jaishankar, with the fact that, a player of the Indian star player that we look at, in terms of their stature, we know how they celebrated in the context of Indian cricket, and getting a dress down of that nature, do you think it's humiliating in the context of playing for these renowned franchises as well, and somewhere down the line could affect them mentally?
I suppose
Because
so.
every team wants
What
to
you
do
say
well.
could be true. I suppose so. But let's not forget there was once Bishan Singh Bedi who told his team, he was the manager and coach of the team, he said he has to throw the entire team into the ocean. He meant that. So it's not a question of whether he's a player or he's a manager or he's an owner. There are some times when the passion gets the better of you and you would say that. But I think KL Rahul also he's handled himself quite well. It's so easy at that particular point. Your
All
bowling
right,
has
Vedam,
got
although
thrashed, you've
you
lost
are
badly.
telling us how you're looking at this, I'm afraid I'd have to interject you there. But thank you very much for joining us on this quick chat and telling us how you, your perspective, of course, one can make whatever they have to of the situation. We'd have to leave it at that because we have a big political